Hello, my name is Ricky Porter, and welcome to At Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. This is a television series for Channel 35, and the purpose is to highlight movers and shakers and unsung heroes here in Dublin. We have one reason and one reason alone, to point out just how great Dublin is. This program is to try to enhance, it is to make better the image of our fair city. And we have been interviewing with several persons, and today I get a chance to talk to a good friend, a person that I've known since I've been in Dublin. He reminded me of when I arrived with dreadlocks on my shoulder. Mr. Matt Hatchett, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
I'm really glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Super.
Now, I knew you from the early days, but now I'm going to talk to you as our Georgia State Representative. Because well, you got a tie on. You got a tie on.
That's right.
You're right. So you're representing District 150.
Correct.
So tell me, what is the geographical borders for District 150?
District 150, 90% of the population that I represent is Lawrence County. 90% of the landmass of Lawrence County I represent. See how you get confused with it. Then I represent all of Trutland County, okay, and over half of Johnson County. So the population, 80% of the population I represent is in Lawrence County. So we've got Trutland and then Johnson. So
now this district, District 150, was formerly well, this is a new district because District 150 was formerly District 143.
Right before,
right. And when it was 143, that was my good namesake, DeBose Porter.
Right. He represented all of Lawrence in one precinct in Johnson. So there was one little piece of Johnson that actually, and then I did have that the first 2 years I was in. I did represent, part of that same district.
Correct.
And then it changed, after the census. So
okay. Because of population.
Right, population shift, everything. Right. You still represent the same number of people, and everybody moves.
And so, what year is this for you as our Georgia State Representative?
This is my fourth year.
Your fourth year?
Fourth year.
Can you believe?
Time flies, doesn't it?
I mean, I remember the election.
Oh,
I remember the campaign.
Yes,
it was a bit of a brutal campaign on the Democratic side.
It was interesting.
It was interesting. Can you believe it's been 4 years, Matt?
It's been. I can, but it's been 4 years.
Wow. So tell me, what's it like in Atlanta? How much time do you spend in Atlanta?
Well, during session, we're there all week. And session lasts from the second Monday in January. We are in session, and that means when the legislature is actually called to order, 40 days. This year we finished on March the 20th, and we went a lot of weeks. We went 5 days, which is Monday through Friday. Usually we'll do a Monday through Thursday, and you come home and you're home with your business on Friday or your family. And this year, though, with the change in elections and changing of the primary election day, everybody's goal was to let's get done as quick as we can and get back home. So we were at a pretty rapid pace, and then a lot of times people say, the less you're up there, the less you're going to mess things up. That's what everybody says. So
is there some truth to that?
We got there's some truth, but when you are going so fast, you can make mistakes too because you're going too fast. So, but there, and then after the session, I've been, last week I was in Columbus, back to Atlanta, and back here on the same day, and then the next day I had to be in Valdosta, and then Tuesday I actually went to Cumming, Georgia, then Toccoa, Georgia, and then in Gainesville yesterday, and I came home yesterday. So it's been. That, and some of that comes with the new role that I have.
And what role is that?
I was elected by the peers in our party. The other House members in the party is the chair of the caucus. So, and part of my role.
So you're the chair of the caucus?
Chair of the Republican caucus.
So you're the chair of the Republican caucus of the House of Representatives for the state of Georgia.
Right. And part of my role is to help us get reelected. So, so I'm going to events and things all over and doing things. In the last 2 weeks, too, the governor has been signing a lot of bills.
Correct.
Making them law. And 4 of those bills I was involved with, and 2 of them I actually, carried and was a sponsor. So I wanted to be there. So that's one of the reasons some of the driving around. So.
Correct. I would like to talk more about Dublin.
Yes.
However, you've sort of whet my appetite about politics, but I don't want to go too far.
Let's do that another show.
Yeah, let's do that another show. But what about this most recent bill that was signed, a legislation that makes it absolutely permissible, I guess I would say, for carrying guns in churches and schools?
Well, that, what you just said
is incorrect?
Well, it's not. There are guidelines and there's restrictions. So the media has run with this and had a good time with it, but it is and I'm going to say this because it is a protection of our Second Amendment rights. Okay, and it seems like those are always under attack from a federal level, and I've been hit by all sides on this, but it's for people that have a carry license. Okay, those are, I would say, 95% of those, probably even more. They're people like you and I that feel more safe and secure when they have a weapon on them. And, say it goes back to the Old West days or whatever, but, you have that right. And you go through the trouble. You've been checked. You've done what you're supposed to do to be able to carry a weapon. And in churches right now, if your congregation chooses to vote on it or take it up, you can post something and let people see you can bring a weapon to church. But you got to have your carry permit. If you are checked by a law enforcement person and you say, I have a weapon, and they'll say, do you have a permit? You say yes. And if you carry a weapon and have a carry permit, you are supposed to have that on you at all times. So it's for the law-abiding citizen. The crazy person that wants to walk in and shoot you, they don't care what the law is. They're going to do it. This is for your protection, and you've done what you need to do to carry the permit. One of the things is a lot of discussion is the bars. I read something this morning. You can carry a weapon in the bar if the
correct.
And this same bill, similar to it, passed in Virginia, and their violence in bars has actually gone down. So, I mean, there's you don't know what it's going to do. It's really been, in my mind, it's kind of been really blown a lot out of proportion.
Correct.
And part of it involved carrying on campuses, college campuses. That completely was thrown out, so that hasn't changed at all.
Well,
and then there is a piece of it that involves schools. A lot of this came about after the Connecticut, right? Where the shooting was in the school.
Correct.
And the elementary, it was a couple of years ago. It will allow a trained person, if the school systems want to have a weapon in the schools. Right now, most of our schools in Lawrence County have an officer of the law there,
right.
Which is, I think they are carrying on. I'm not even positive,
right.
but
well, we will have another opportunity to discuss more politics.
It's a very complex issue.
Yes, I think politics itself is a very complex issue, particularly when you're speaking about politics in the context of history, politics in the sense of regional understandings, and I look forward to having that conversation with you.
And I'd like to tell people that particular bill is for the good guys. There's no and I am comfortable with saying that.
Okay. So, we're going to leave that alone.
Okay.
But we are going to come back to
Dublin.
Let's talk about Dublin and Lawrence County. I met your beautiful daughter, Emily.
Yes, thank you.
And you should be very proud of Emily.
I'm proud of both of my daughters.
Well, what's your other daughter's name?
Tammy.
Yeah, okay. I'm not as familiar with Cammie.
She's a freshman in high school.
But I've met Emily as a result of attending the Junior Miss Distinguished Young Women's competition.
Right.
And a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Miss Garner Gay, who was a recipient a few weeks ago, this past year. And your daughter was participating in the program. She played a beautiful piano recitation. Was it Mozart? Don't even ask you.
Okay, I've heard it a million times.
Okay, well, I'll leave it alone. But her poise, her sense of artistry, it was just absolutely splendid. And I understand from you that she will be graduating as a salutatorian from West Lawrence High School, and she will be going to Mercer University.
She's going to Mercer.
Yeah, one of the historic universities in this country, and certainly a premier school here in Georgia.
She is. She's doing great, and I'm immensely proud of her and the work she's done. She has worked hard. She's worked hard in her schoolwork. She volunteers. She wants to be a doctor, and every moment she gets, she's at the hospital volunteering. And even last week she spent 2 or 3 hours there helping them file, which has nothing to do with actually seeing patients and work. She wants to be a physician.
Well, you should be very proud of her.
I'm very proud of her.
So that's the National Junior Miss Competition, and here in Dublin, it is sponsored by the Dublin Exchange Club.
Correct.
Are you a member of the Dublin Exchange
I
Club?
was years ago. I'm a member of the Rotary Club now.
You're a member of the Rotary Club. What's the difference between the Exchange Club and the Rotary Club? Is there a major difference?
They're both service organizations and working to make this part of our community better. I mean, they're both do a great job, and as far as working for the community, I'd say they both do a lot for this community.
I've had a great opportunity working with Channel 35, producing these programs, talking to guests about Dublin in terms of opportunities to make Dublin a better place, affirming what we like about Dublin. This is a question which I did not prepare you for, and I've never prepared any of the guests for this question. If you had the opportunity to change one thing to improve the cultural quality of the life of Dublin, to make our city more attractive, to invite folk to our home. If Matt Hatchett could come up with one thing to ameliorate, to make better our fair city, what would Matt Hatchett do?
Might need to stop the camera right.
No.
What would I do to change one thing?
You could be building on something that already exists.
Well, you'd sort of talked to me about one thing, and I was really thinking about it, and it came to me pretty quick. And the one thing that I think makes our community what it is the relationships that people have with each other, with God, it's just, community relationships from county to city, leaders, the government, just the relationships that people have. And if there's one thing that I would change, it's what we've been dealing with a lot lately, and I would say it's relationships between you and me.
No.
The minority and population. I really think that the strengthening of relationships. I
listen. When I organized to do this television program, the front of my mind was always to keep it soft, to keep it on the side that does not rub any kind of controversial edges. But the very first program, City Manager George Roussel answered the question regarding if there was one thing that he could do to improve Dublin, and he without blinking, said, do something about the consolidation of our schools. He regarded our school system now as segregated as it has ever been in the past. Now, I'm not necessarily pushing that idea, and I'm not saying that he was pushing that idea. When I interviewed Robert Hunter, he saw problems about that. He saw some goodness in the way it is right now with city schools and county schools. But you, Mr. Hatchett, have gone almost to the heart of the matter. I think you're talking about race relations.
Right, race relations. I mean, get the relationship, work on that relationship. And I'm, I'm a Republican, okay?
And I am a Democrat.
And I would like to say, and I hope I'm correct, the reason I'm a Republican is not because I'm white. The reason you're a Democrat is not because you're white. We have philosophical differences. But I think that line, it does not need to be like that. It shouldn't be like that. And there are minorities that are in the Republican Party. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Republican.
Condoleezza Rice
is,
Colin Powell,
and we need to all, it's the relationships, and that's what makes this community strong. Is our relationships, and I would say our relationships need to be stronger.
Well, how can we improve the relationship between the races? But how can we do that? But particularly in the context of the history of the geography of the South.
By doing what we're doing right now. We're talking about it.
Very good. So, I would agree with you. I would agree with you.
Getting together, you've got us, we have a city council that, as far as, when I was there, the communication was great, and I still think the communication is great. Just communicate. I mean, that's key. That's the key in a successful marriage. That's the key in a successful business. It's the key in the success of any community. And we've done that, and we just need to continue to do it. And I would set that as a goal of mine. I'm sure it's a goal of yours, or you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now.
Correct.
But I think we've got to start.
Could we don't have a great deal more time, but I'd like to push this just a little bit. What are some of the problems, or what are some of the difficulties, what are the pitfalls in this area of race relations in the South? But let's bring it on home to Dublin and to Lawrence County. What are the problems? I mean, why does there seem to be a kind of stilted atmosphere just to even have the conversation? You're correct. I
don't know that I know the answer to that. I don't know that I know the answer to that. I would like to say that over time, I would think that race relations in our community have improved and have gotten better. And I think I have lived that, and I hope they can continue to do that. And I think you need to continue to work at it and just keep building the relationships
and provide opportunities.
Right. And there's just a lot more conversations need to be had and worked on. But I'm definitely willing to help and do anything I can do
to make that possible. We're talking about a civil society.
Yes.
Wherein comity, respect are all endemic, and we talk. We simply talk. Right. Without agenda, without motive, but with the same goal, that is the improvement of our community. I think we need more of that, Matt. I really do. And if there's anything that I remember about you from when I first came here with dreadlocks on my shoulders, your Southern gentleman hospitality.
Well, thank you. That's how I was raised, and that's what I've always believed in confronting a situation head on. And I've been involved in many organizations in this community, and I've tried to help grow one of my hardest things was involvement with the Boys and Girls Club. And
did you say hardest?
Hardest.
Why was that so hard?
Just working with it.
It was a lot of work.
And a lot of work. And
are we going to get a Boys and Girls Club in Dublin?
We've had them in the past.
We've had a Boys and Girls Club in Dublin?
Very
what happened
successful. To it? I don't really know.
Oh.
I didn't. You can't do everything. You can't do everything for every
body.
And you have to move on and move to other things.
Correct.
And I've moved to doing this position, and it's you don't the time you get calls. I've been on phone calls this morning about insurance, health care. The phone. I think I've had about 4 calls while we're sitting here. My phone keeps going off. So I mean, you're busy, and then also you're trying to you have a career too. You have a job and trying to do that too. So it makes it difficult. But our community, what's made us strong in the past is the relationships that people from you have the county, city relationships, and the strong relationships that are there have kept us strong as a county and as a community. And I'm sure that relationships many years ago were strong between the races and got us, through those very tough times that were present in our society. Well, I wasn't even around. I don't know how old you are, but
I'm 57. How old are you?
I'm 48.
48.
Oh, yes. I think I just had a birthday. I'm trying to remember. But I mean, let's keep the relationship strong and keep progressing and moving forward.
Well, I would like
we don't go anywhere by going backwards.
I would welcome the opportunity of TV 35 will permit me to do a show just on race, but you have certainly been bold and courageous in bringing up the subject, and I think you've spoken eloquently about the subject. Which fits in with the character that I've known all along as Matt Hatchett. We only have a moment or two left. I'd like for you to wish us well. Now, ordinarily, you're a casual guy. If you weren't coming from a funeral, you would not be wearing that tie. I know that. But I want you to put on your hat as our state representative and, in your own way, wish it's called citizenry? The citizens. Okay. Wish us well. What would be, ladies and gentlemen, this is our state representative, the Honorable Matt Hatchett. Wish us well, Mr. Hatchett.
Well, I wish this community well every day, all the time. I mean, for our community to continue doing what it's doing right in working together, working through difficult situations, and making our community even stronger by doing that, and helping each other. I tell everybody I don't tell everybody. People ask me, so what's the best thing about your state representative job? And the best thing about it is getting a phone call from a constituent that has a problem with our state government, some arm, and being able to pick up the phone and call. And a lot of times I have to find out who to call to help them, and that's where you get the good feeling about what you do when you're able to help somebody, and you can't help them all, but when you do, usually it's just a little roadblock they've run into, and sometimes you might need to get them to move the piece of paper from the 100th in the bottom to the top, and being able to do that and to help them, that's, the reward you get out of this job. So
excellent.
And I would say that's what we need to do as a community, is continue to hit things head on, and let's work through any problems or situations we have, and it's going to make our community better and stronger. So keep being what we've been for years.
Very good, very good. Well, we have been visiting with Mr. Matt Hatchett, a loyal citizen of Dublin, a friend of this community, a child of this community.
Yes.
And it's been very good to have you on the show. At Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. Thank you very much for joining us.